Okay, how's everybody doing? Yeah. So I'm Nicodemus. I'm from the Makers Local 256. We're a hackerspace out from Huntsville, Alabama. Can you not hear me? All right. Really? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right. Let me try it again. I am Nicodemus. I'm from the Makers Local 256. We're a hacker group in Huntsville, Alabama. Cut it down a bit. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to be talking about hackerspaces. What are hackerspaces? Why they're important? Where you can find some in your area, and if need be, how to make your own. So what is a hackerspace? Hackerspaces are collaborative areas where people can get together and, collaborate, obviously. Hackerspaces kind of look like this. They look like this. They look like this. So you get a bunch of people together and you can do stuff together. You can build off of each other's strengths, make up for each other's weaknesses. Hackerspaces are creative. This is a hackerspace in Germany. Print t-shirts, obviously. All right, so here's a quote from one of our members. Hackerspaces are really cool. How many people here are members of a hackerspace? Really? Just, okay. All right. So all the Huntsville people. Okay, all right. Actually, okay. For everyone who's in the Atlanta area, there is a hackerspace that's being created. Yes. Yeah, it is forming, so help them out. Help them make it. And we'll talk about that in a second. So who goes to hackerspaces? Who builds hackerspaces? Oh, geez. All right. Come on. All right. So who are these crazy hackerspace people? They're hackers. They're spacers, yeah. Makers. What are makers? They make things. Geeks and other people. They don't have to be hackers or geeks or freaks or anything. They can be normal people.
Hey, watch it with the N-word.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Didn't mean to offend anyone. All right. So you are going to want to find a hackerspace, a local hackerspace if you can. Wherever you're from, who here's from the Atlanta region? All right. And, okay. So, like I said, you got that hackerspace forming. You're going to want to make it. Because if you cannot find one, you are going to want to make a hackerspace. These things are really cool. Why are they cool, you ask? Projects. Everybody knows what projects are. They're the cool things that you've always wanted to do, but you never got around to doing them because you either lack the experience, the know-how, the motivation, the tools, the place to do it. Extra fingers, exactly. People are doing crazy projects at hackerspaces all the time. And it is motivational to see other people doing projects. Sometimes it's really strange. I honestly have no idea what that is. This is a multi-touch table from our own hackerspace. So yeah, projects, really cool. A dildo machine, really? All right. Well, if you pool your resources, you can pretty much do anything. A hackerspace will allow you to focus on your project, in theory. Sometimes you get a little sidetracked, get a little lazy, but it's a lot better than trying to get your projects worked out without a hackerspace. You don't have the people there to motivate you. You don't have the expertise that a lot of your members have. Group projects. So a lot of our projects in Huntsville are made by multiple members of the group, of the hackerspace. And where do you store a group project? One person's house, another person's apartment. It's not really, it doesn't really make sense. So if you have a place, a centralized place where you can do these things, it makes it a lot easier. People. Hackerspaces are all about the people. You have really, really cool people at hackerspaces. And you're going to want a hackerspace because you get to hang out with and interact with and work with these really cool, interesting, intelligent people. So they say. So yeah, like I say, you can leverage the expertise that everyone has. Say so-and-so's really good at electronics, so-and-so's really good at programming, so-and-so's really good at mechanical engineering. You bring all this together, you can really create cool things. And if you're just good at electronics engineering, there's a limit to what you can do. But if you're part of a project that has someone who's a climatologist or a rocket scientist, the types and varieties of projects grow exponentially. You can learn so much at a hackerspace. You can learn new skills, you can learn how to build things, learn how to do it yourself. I'm going to get to this a little bit later, but this is really important. Doing it yourself as opposed to letting someone else do it for you and force you to, just take whatever they give you. So you can explore. We try out crazy things all the time. We're like, everybody's, talked to their friends, their geeky friends. We're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if so-and-so and so-and-so? Well, with a hackerspace, you do it. You're like, okay, well, here's some circuit boards. Here's some parts, here's a solar panel. Let's just throw it together because we can. Because all that stuff is there. All these people are there. And you're in an environment where stuff gets done. You're working on projects. People are always working on projects, so the threshold for trying out new crazy things is really low. You can just do anything. You can experiment. I think this is really important too, and I'll discuss a little bit more on this later. So where is a local hackerspace? They're everywhere. Nashville. Yeah, Nashville's a close one. The Hacker Consortium, they have a nice hackerspace. This is a website that will give you just about every hackerspace in the world. There's a list there. There's a wiki, and so you can explore, see what hackerspaces are nearby you. This is a map, the most recent map of hackerspaces on hackerspace.org. As you can see, most of them are in America and in Europe, but there's some in South Africa, South America, Asia. They're all over the place, and they're increasing in number. And here are some photos from Hackerspaces all over the world. It depends on what country you're from. So a lot of hackerspaces just come together from a few people that just get together and say, wouldn't it be cool if we had a place to do these crazy things? And wouldn't it be cool to pool our resources, have a place where our tools can go, where parts can go, where we can just build things, have a workshop, a mad scientist laboratory sort of thing? Wouldn't it be cool? And just a few people say, fuck it, let's do it. That's all it takes. Well, not exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of these things. And like I say, they are increasing in number. A mobile hackerspace. So, hopefully you're interested. How do I start one? Well, like I said, first you need a couple of people to just say, fuck it, let's do it. But then you need a few other things. You need to figure out what you want to do with your hackerspace. Is your hackerspace going to be like a private clubhouse where just a few of your friends can come together and do the things that you want to do? Or do you want to kind of make it open, a charity like the Makers Local Group? We're now a 501c3 charity registered with the IRS. And we do that because we want, our personal belief is we want, openness. We want everybody to be able to come in and contribute. We want them to be able to come in, learn, and be a part of the community, and just grow this mentality of do-it-yourself, sort of rugged individualism, experiment, mad scientist motif. Do you want to start with projects, or do you want to start with a space? Two good examples are the Hacker Consortium and Makers Local. Makers Local in Huntsville, we started out with projects. We didn't have a place. We just met at someone's apartment, once a week or whatever, and that's where we stored, tools and materials and things. So we had projects that kind of gave us motivation, and we hit the ground running. If you start with a space like the Hacker Consortium, you are starting, that is your project. You start with a space. You have the space, but once you have it, you're totally free to run with all your projects, and you have a nice solid foundation. So it's just two different philosophies, and you got to decide how you want to go with that. And that's not necessarily the only two ways, but two common ways. So money is important, obviously. These things will cost money. Materials will cost money. Tools will cost money. If you want people to come in and give lectures or presentations, that'll cost money. Your place is probably going to cost money. It's going to cost rent, utilities, etc.
I found out one lately, a backflow valve, about $800.
Yeah. There's that too. So yeah, these things will cost money. You must be prepared to pay for them. You're going to want a good treasurer. You're going to want a good treasurer. Really.
One that makes money at the end of
Yeah. Know a lawyer. Yeah. Pretty weird. So if you're going to be a 501c3, you're going to want to know a lawyer. There are laws involved. For instance, insurance. If you have a place that has a lot of, high voltage equipment, power tools, you're going to want to do insurance. Somebody at some point is going to cut off their finger, and you're going to want to be prepared for that. Yeah, exactly. Underage drinkers, everything. So this is not going to be exactly an easy process. You're going to learn a lot of things for the first time. you're gonna have growing pains. Things are not gonna work out exactly as you plan them out to be. So you have to prepare for that. You're gonna have to just say, okay, this is not gonna be perfect, but let's do it anyway. Organization is, in theory, a good thing. Kind of hard to do sometimes, but if you can do it, it really helps out. Trying to find that one part in this shelf of chaotic, organization. Yes.
Are you trying to say to organize, either take your meds or find somebody in the group that doesn't have any?
Exactly. If you can find someone who has obsessive compulsive disorder, just let them go. OCD people are great. They'll put little bins and labels and everything. Fantastic. Exactly. That helps out a lot.
And replace the meds with sugar pills whenever possible.
Exactly. Access control. This is particularly interesting, at least for our group. You have a lot of different ways of doing this. Basically, this means physical security for the space. Do you want little metal keys that you give out to people that are your members? Do you have RFID cards? Do you have bioverification, thumbprint? What do you do? It's good to think about these things. We use an USB authentication, so our little USB thumb drives have unique serial numbers. We plug them into the port, opens the door. We think that was kind of cool, but
I saw something like that some guys did on like Hackaday or something.
yeah, something like that. Hackaday, Engadget. Yeah. I think I saw it at Freaknik. That was kind of cool. But yeah, you can do all sorts of different things. Yeah, it was. So, if you are interested in growing the hackerspace, well, what do? How do you get the word out that you exist? First thing to do, I would suggest, is to go to hackerspaces.org and list your hackerspace. That's going to reach a lot of people who are looking for hackerspaces. Once you get it off the ground, we were really lucky. We got somebody who was really interested in promoting our space. He actually got an NPR commercial on the radio that we didn't have to pay for at all, which was really awesome. So I talked about what is a hackerspace, why they're important, why you're going to want one, where you can find them, and how you can build your own. So the last thing I want to talk about is, what does this all mean? And I think this is very important. I think this whole hackerspaces idea is the second version of the scientific revolution. And what I mean is, before the scientific revolution, what the church said, went. And that, goad. I can't speak English anymore, I'm sorry. So, I mean, that was the truth, and that's all you were capable of doing. God created man in his image. Man is not going to ever know anything beyond what he already knows. That's it. We have reached the pinnacle of human evolution. When these Enlightenment thinkers came around, the scientific revolution, we said, we can know anything. Human experimentation, human knowledge is infinite. Whatever we want to know, we can know it. Anything in this universe. And so these guys, obviously influenced the rest of the world, the rest of history. We're a result of that. But I think for a large majority of the population, we aren't really following that ideal. We're just kind of accepting what everyone tells us, what government tells us, what corporations tell us. We're not really thinking for ourselves, and that's why I think hackerspaces are really important, is because it shows that we can do this ourselves. If we want a photo booth, we don't have to go somewhere and buy one, we just build it. We can do this. We can do whatever we want. We can build whatever we want. We can do it ourselves. Do it yourself mentality. It's really important. And I think because so many hackerspaces are proliferating around the globe, that this really is a movement, and we're really starting to come to the realization that, yeah, the Enlightenment thinkers were right. We can know anything. We can do anything. This is sort of an enabling movement.
Would you really call that a scientific revolution version 2? Or is it more of us stepping back to those roots? Because if you look at today's school, in this country as an example, metal shop, wood shop, music programs, all of the things that I grew up with and some of the others in this room grew up with that I'm sure a lot of you didn't have in school, that we did have, that taught us a lot of this practical application that yeah, I remember when hacker wasn't a dirty, ugly word.
Right.
Right? I remember when doing it yourself, as one of the other speakers said, my father taught me to do it myself because it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Did your teachers help you with your self-esteem?
Well, not only that, but if you can do it yourself, then you have the ability to make a choice. Do I want to do it myself?
That's
or
right.
do I want to pay some schmuck to do it for me?
That's right.
Right? I do my own brakes on my car, but I don't do my own tune-up.
Right.
Right? Because for me, doing brakes it's just relaxing. Put the car in the air, pull the tires off. I've got the tools at the house. I can do it. Do I want to dick around with a 4-cylinder Toyota engine? No.
Sure. But
If it was a V8 and it was what I really want, yeah, I'd be doing it all myself.
well, I think what I was trying to get across was that knowledge is power, basically. And hackerspaces are all about that. Experiment, knowledge.
And I'm behind Hackerspaces 110%. We had this discussion at the last DC4 meeting, and one of the problems that I see, and it's an obstacle, it's not necessarily a problem, it's not insurmountable. The problem that we have today with Atlanta and a hackerspace is that Atlanta is fucking huge.
Right.
It's not as large as you would think.
Well, again,
the whole point is that, for example, I live 60 miles north of here. Yes, I do. According to what Atlanta considers Atlanta, people in Chattanooga live in Atlanta. Laugh.
No, we just want the water.
Well, again, what I would say is you just need a group of you that are really enthusiastic about it to just say fuck it and do it.
Well, there is that.
That's all you need.
Well, the other thing too is one of our biggest concerns when we discussed this was the insurance and liability.
Yeah.
I have no problem teaching somebody else how to use a skill saw or any of the other skills I know. I would love for somebody to teach me how to weld, right?
I w-
Something I've always wanted to do. But my point is, if I'm teaching a 17 or 19 or 24 or 30-year-old person to
Right.
use a skill saw and they slice their hand off, God forbid,
That's right.
we live in a litigious society.
Start small.
$2 million worth of insurance coverage per year is about 6 people.
Okay, so that's new info, right?
It-
For these spaces, just to let you know, for these spaces like Atlanta that are trying to get started, that's the input we need.
Right.
And who do you go to with this?
Right. Right.
The obstacles that you actually faced and those lessons.
Right.
You talk about lessons learned, you're gonna stumble.
Make them sign a waiver.
There's a
Right.
divergence here between what they do and what the consortium
Sure.
does. Here's why. They like to let everybody in the door and say, check it out, here's our space. Last time I checked, you guys don't have a compound rib saw, right? I do. But to let somebody in the space, we actually vet them through the entire group of people. Hey, this is so-and-so. You meet them. Afterwards, they come over to me and you go, schmuck, you like it? And they go, thumbs up. And if you did, we didn't hand him a tape measure and ask him if he knew how to use it.
Dude, that was the first time he was ever sober.
Yeah. So we vet people. You literally, if you don't make the grade, I gotta come back and say, I'm sorry.
Right, but that, do you have bylaws?
Yes.
Do you
We have bylaws as well.
Okay, so, share those.
Sure.
Well, buy me a drink later, I'll talk forever.
Okay. Yes.
Go ahead and talk about some of these things like the bylaws.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. So for the question section of this, any Makers Local 256 who wants to come up, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah. So like I said, different people in the hackerspace have different expertise. So to field questions, we're going to need a lot of different people.
No, it works. So what's the question?
So
How did you manage to get an ad on NPR?
Oh,
I'd like to do that.
we actually we have a really good friend where we live, and he knows a girl who used to work for the she used to work for one of the local news stations, and WURH, LRH. Anyways, and she actually, they have a group that they're getting together to try to help promote local organizations and things like that. So she decided, she went to the NPR area, our local NPR station, and recorded the PSA for us, and she's actually writing a couple articles for us and everything. So it's really, we got another organization to help us with what we're trying to do.
I want to add something to that. A lot of, actually, I think all PSAs, they're not allowed to charge for them, and all radio stations are required to have so much time dedicated to PSAs. A lot of the more commercial stations only have them, play at 3 in the morning when no one's listening. But I think NPR, those nonprofit type of stations are the best sources to hit. So hit up your local NPR station and just ask if you can record a free PSA and if they'll give you some attention.
And we do get traffic because of that.
Yeah, we got a lot of traffic at our open houses because of that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Give us a rundown of what type of equipment is in your shop.
Gosh,
Oh man.
computers.
Yeah, we're a lot of computer-based, a lot of computers. We're the place that we rented. We got tables, so that was good for us. But I don't know, table saw, just like little hand tools. Our space is only about 800 square feet. It's a little house. It has a little backyard. But at this point, we have about 20 members. We're running out of space. So any kind of big tools that we would want to buy, like I bought a table saw the other day for us because we were working on a big project. But that's probably the biggest thing that we have right now is a table saw, and we have to take it out in the shed because we don't have room for it.
Follow up to that. What tools do you want that you don't have?
A CNC machine. Make your own.
Yeah.
We are.
I don't really know. You guys have anything for that? I mean,
Drill press, absolutely. Band saws. 3D printer would be great.
A rep.
Yeah.
Would be awesome. Yeah.
Yep. We found out a company across the street from us actually has that stuff. Just a lot, and they showed it off to us. It was fun.
Will they let you rent time on it?
For the same rate everybody
anybody
else pays,
can rent
yeah.
time on it. I'm sorry, you had a question?
What kind of projects are you all working on?
We have, we have the, I don't know if anybody was here at Freaknik, Outerz0ne last year. We originally made a photo booth that was pretty much portable that we wrapped up. We've completely redone that. It all wraps up into one box now, a lot better, and it's a lot sturdier, lighter than it used to be. That'll be up in our room later tonight. I don't know, we had a Jacob's ladder that we brought with us. The USB door authentication for our members.
The multi-touch.
Yeah, multi-touch table. He's working on some kind of crazy luggable computer that you just plug your guitar right into, and it's got speakers on the back and everything. So, a lot of websites and IRC bots and things like that, and just.
It's about as varied as the group because the group comes up with the ideas, and we all have a sheet of ideas we want to work on.
It varies.
It depends
Varies a lot.
depends on the project.
I'll say that the photo booth was worked on by probably 10 different people
Yeah.
by the time it got done, and Bob being like the most help on it probably. Design and just going through just like different people jumping in and doing their own, like, oh, I can do this, so I have this tool and I'll do it for you.
And I think that's one of the best things about the Hackerspace is the collaborative effort. My skills mainly lay in hardware and some software, but mechanical things are very much beyond me. I just don't really grasp it very well. When we took the time to make a USB door, I could do the soldering and I could do the programming, but attaching it to a deadbolt, I couldn't wrap my mind around that. Gregabyte was able to make an interface for the door where that is something that when I hit that, I probably wouldn't have gone, oh well, here's where my expertise ends, and that project would have gone in a box and sat in the corner for another 2 years.
Be like the 17 that are upstairs in my bonus room.
Exactly. Make your own hackerspace, bring those down there, and somebody will probably work on them for you.
Believe it, we've talked about it. You know, for me, because I live on the outskirts, the way I live in the boonies, what I said in the last DC 404 meeting still stands. I will support the DC 404 group and anybody else in Atlanta that wants to build a hackerspace, but I'm actually looking at doing one local to where I live as well, because it's halfway between Athens and Atlanta, and there's a fuckload of kids out there that don't have the availability to get to a machine shop, a wood shop, a place to play,
Yeah.
right?
What was your first project?
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, the probably the Gorilla Drive-In. We grabbed a FM transmitter off eBay, projector and a laptop, hooked it up to a couple batteries, and just drove around town until we found a good wall. Project a movie on, put it on Facebook, put it on LiveJournal. I think one night we had probably 30 or 40 people show up in a parking lot and just
Tony like that.
watch a movie. Actually, we only had cops show up once. I don't remember. I don't know what you said, but.
Oh, how did
Had
Sony
Sony
like that?
It was a public domain movie that we watched. Of course, we would definitely right.
You would never show The Matrix.
No, we were not showing Clerks 2 when the cops showed up.
Some of us have seen the YouTube.
What about local laws and regulations? Have you had any experience with them, or any problems, or any confrontations about them?
Not yet.
Jeff, what about some of the issues getting insurance under, like,
Oh.
what do you call us?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Oh,
Right.
A follow-on to that, or a more defined question from Ziplocs is, what is the biggest legal issue you guys have had to face? What was it?
No drinking in the shop. No drinking in the shop
The insurance.
because of the insurance. Jeff, go ahead.
Okay. One of the biggest things when with the insurance was when we came in, they didn't know how to classify us. They asked us things like, okay, what does your company sell? We don't sell anything. What does your company provide? A learning experience. What kind of equipment do you have? Dangerous equipment. And what kind of training do you have? Professional training do you have, and are you offering to give this this equipment? None. You know, it's things like that the insurance companies didn't know how to deal with us, and Hacker Consortium and our group uses the same insurance provider. However, we ran into an interesting part where we couldn't get the same deal that they could. They have a much better policy than we do, and you'll find that that's because of different states, as you cross the border, will give you different insurance policies.
Would that also be because of the way that Hacker Consortium vets the people in?
That actually was never discussed with the insurance company. So we went through several iterations of our project before we actually landed in the space we're in now. At one point, it was $150 a month per member, and it was stout because we were wanting 4,000 square feet of R&D space, and C-Line now would have jumped up to $90,000 if we Well, how do you explain, what do you do? Clubhouse, you know, we're gonna hang out in the
Yeah, engineering funhouse.
You know, I had to explain it to the cops, and, you know, what do you say at that point? Well, when we bring people in, you have to understand, half of us have carry permits. Some interns have typically got 2 guns, he's got one on the back and one in his pocket for a backup. I mean, the neighborhood's not that bad, but we don't ever really open our door and just let anyone walk in. If they get through the door, we've got video of the guys, you know, grabbing their guns. It's not that bad a neighborhood, but we're very particular. We have 3 server racks and a 10 kVA UPS in its own server room with a chiller. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in it. But yeah, I wish we could open it up to everybody, but my concern is there'll always be that one person that walks in and goes, there's that, there's that, there's that. And it's not one of us.
One of the things that happened about 3 months ago, guy came in, knocked on the door, you know, big black guy with his plate.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of little skinny white people. He said, you know, your shop, we're not gonna do this. No, but, you know, came in, he's taking over, it's like, making storefront, box store. And he's come to say, hey, it's like, hey, you know, it's great to see you. Yeah. Improving, you know. So we're like, it's nice where we are right now, wish there were more industrial space, but the locations.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're helping them improve the neighborhood itself.
I'll put it this way, you guys did the projects and then started kind of building it from there and thinking, oh, we'll leave a space to work out of. We went out and bought a space and it's literally, I'm like standing at the edge of the steps throwing hundreds into this thing going, Jesus, I'm hemorrhaging cash, thousands out of my pocket, his pocket, flat pocket. You're just going cash going, are we ever going to be done with this place? Now, when we get done, it's 2,500 square feet. But we've chucked it out of the past year where it may take you 2 years to get it done. And you kind of spread that out a little bit, so.
Yeah, it's interesting, yeah. We had the upfront money.
Yeah, definitely. If we didn't have any cash sitting around, none of our members had, you know,
Well, and
disposable income.
there's where the angels come in. Usually in a group like this, it's 1 or 2 angels. You know, like
Or idiots.
in our group, we got 10 board members that started it. But really, I think probably only 5 of us are really helping us financially.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's because of the game.
What are the
Can you talk about the fees that you guys have and what you've seen around the country?
The fees, actually, when we first incorporated, we started off with the idea of having a flat donation fee. We played with a lot of ideas. That was one of the ideas that we had. We made an incorrect assumption, believing that the 501c3 IRS would not grant us that 501c3 if we had membership, that we had to have variable donations. It turns out you can do both. We did end up doing what we do is a membership system. Or a donation system is what I should say, a pledge system. You come in, you fill an application, and you choose the amount that you want to put in every month. And whatever amount that you choose, we are softly, expecting that contribution every month. And we'll come to you and say, hey, you said you wanted to put in $20 a month. We would like you to make your donation now because we have to keep the lights on. One of the problems that we faced when we were looking for a space was they asked us what we were going to do with it, and I would tell them we're a think tank, and they'd immediately say, well, we don't want to have anything to do with you. I didn't realize that think tank had a political connotation. They were thinking, hey, we're going to come in and we're going to be doing lobbying out of this thing. And it wasn't until I finally asked them, I was like, you say you don't want us, can I just ask why? And they're like, we don't want to have anything to do with politics. We don't have anything to do with politics. So when you're going around, don't describe yourself as a think tank. Technology think tank, maybe. I don't know. They hear the word think tank and they put a red flag on it. They don't want to have anything to do with you.
There are some other places. I know the HC has a very set membership due that you do pay every, and they say to everybody, this is what you're going to pay each month. Where we have the open pledge system, and I'm not sure how all the other hackerspaces do it though. But I've at least seen those 2 methods.
The way we started out, like as far as getting a building, was we just kind of said, hey, we've been talking about getting a space for however long. How much can everyone contribute 1 month for a year? And so, to me at least, it just started out as a one-year experiment to see where it went. Everyone said, I'll contribute this much for a year. And we said, okay, now we know what kind of place we can look for, what kind of rates we need to be looking at to get. Don't forget to account for like utilities and internet and stuff. So that's how we started out with the contribution system. And then from there, we developed the membership applications and the pledge system and all that. So.
The consortium, from my a little bit not here, the original deal I had, or when we were getting into the 4,000 square feet, was $92,000 or whatever. I had 5, I think, IBM S31s that are only theoretically available in Japan and Hong Kong. They're small IBM laptops. And I was going to give certain people in the group one of these laptops that kind of one of a kind deal you don't find very often, in exchange for putting $1,000 up so that the coffers should get started. The idea was to be able to pay the rent and everything. Well, the last iteration we did, I'm looking at 16 pages of paperwork that says you're fucked if someone doesn't come to the cash that you need. So we backed out of that deal. And I wanted to take a year off and mess with Hackerspace. I get a phone call from Bud Flat. He found the building we're in is like a concrete block bunker. It's 50 years old, if not 60. And he said, yeah, come check this out. He said, it's a little shithole, but I think it'll do what we want. It's got a garage door, 2 big steel doors on one end. We took every window out and put the lock in it. For the first 3 years, our lease is $1 a year. So if you can imagine, there's a picture of us handing $1 to the guy we signed the lease paperwork with. I actually asked him if I could borrow it. He thought that was funny, but to be honest.
Yeah, and we're actually, I'm sorry, we're our lease, the year experiment, as she would say, is almost up for us, and we're looking at expanding. We pretty much doubled in a year. We have about 20 full members that are at the shop all the time doing something usually. So we're in the process of looking for a new place, and we've been looking around at local kind of art centers. There's a place, and we've got a hold of other groups, a couple other nonprofits that we're looking at leasing a giant building and kind of splitting it up among us. And so, like I said, we doubled in a year, and so now we're in the process of looking for a place, something maybe like what they have, or something like that.
Instead of saying it's a think tank, you could say you're starting an artist studio.
Or hobby. Don't say you're artist equals you don't have any money.
Right.
You know what we're listed as? Storage. We store a hell of a lot of junk there, but yeah. If you look at our zoning or whatever we've got through Metro, we're listed as just being a storage location.
Yes, somebody brought up engineering funhouse to me the other day, and I thought that was a pretty good way to explain what we do.
Or hobby shop. I liked that term because we're a shop, like a machine shop, but it's for hobbyists. And there are places like that popping up where you're it's not an organization, but it's a space that you're renting.
Prototyping shop.
Yes.
That's tech shop, Tim Dickens deal.
Yeah, tech shop.
In California, what is it, 15,000 square feet, 75 parking spaces, pay about $1,200 a year for a membership. And they've got CNC, they got plasma cutters, they got all that great stuff. But on the other hand, they're guys that go in and do nothing but prototype, what equipment they're turning around to sell. We're different in that, you come in there and it's like, what do you want to do? Hey, let's build something. What do you want to do? Let's go get drunk.
Yeah.
Really fun.
definitely.
Because they can see solutions where you might struggle, right?
Well, and that's the whole point of having a hackerspace is to get like-minded people together that know different things to do one thing. I mean,
You guys
it's
mentioned something that I thought was hilarious. You said, "Oh, everyone said, wouldn't it be cool if we actually have something 100 degrees or 100 degrees out? If you say, oh man, wouldn't be cool if we did so and so, you're fucking in charge of that project."
Yeah.
That's yours. I'm not touching it.
I'll tell you from experience, being in charge of a project.
So what you're saying, as soon as you hear somebody say, "Wouldn't it be cool if," everybody else just shuts up and looks at you?
Well, sometimes he goes, man, you know, we got the parking lot, blah, blah, wouldn't it be cool if we had a moat? I'm like, motherfucker, that's yours. That's it. Start thinking about it.
If I was going to do one thing differently, I think if you're going to go the 501c3 route, it's only retroactive either 1 year or the date that you incorporated, whichever one is shorter. So if you decide from the get-go that you want to be a 501c3, incorporate before you start to go look for a place to rent. Because if you are putting money into a rent place before you incorporate, all of those paychecks are not tax deductible until that date that you incorporated.
The only reason we didn't go for the C and actually be a charitable nonprofit, and this is kind of snotty, I guess, but if you're a charitable nonprofit and you dissolve the corporation, all the assets that were acquired during the time have to go to another group. And I'm going, Tennessee is going to take all this crap we've built up. Am I going to, it's like, you know, oh, I've got my old computer, I'll give it to the school. The school goes, what the hell to do with
I don't want this whole thing. Schools won't take anything that's less than a Pentium 4.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I looked at it and I said, well, we can go this direction if we can give it all to someone who doesn't really, or probably isn't going to know what to do with it. Or when we dissolve our corporation, all the members are going to walk in and go, what the hell do you want? And they go, I'll take this, and it'll go somewhere, and I know it'll be used that way. I didn't. We went that direction just for that reason. It wasn't that we didn't think we needed to be one. It was like we're going to acquire so much stuff that I want to make sure it goes with the members where they'll continue to use it. Heaven forbid we ever dissolve our place.
A lot of that can be addressed at least two different ways. One is what's the actual monetary value, valuation of that piece of equipment, how long it's held.
Yeah.
Zero value, like there's no problem.
Oh, yeah.
The other is, you know, when you dissolve that, somebody else has a regular nonprofit for all good well said. If that nonprofit is does or any purposes, distribute what they take in to ours, and so then you just filter it through there.
When you go to actually, and I'm not trying to jump into it, here's my thing, and you guys did the Hackerspaces book. You got your article in it and everything?
It should be in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Brief Pettis and Stara did a thing where you submitted pictures and all that stuff. One of the things that I put in the very last paragraph is dream. You know, decide what you want to do. So a year ago, you could have walked up to me and said, hey, this is a cool building. There's nothing in here. What are you going to do? I could close my eyes and tell you down to the millimeter where everything was going to be. I walked everyone through it. Here's a nickel tour. We're studying the vehicle work area. And I would walk everybody through space the same way, explain everything exactly how it was, because we had talked about it. We all knew what it was going to be like. So when you jump in there and you say, hey, this is what we're going to do, I also know that shit's going to hit the fan and we're going to get, you know, things are going to dissolve. I'm going to get put in jail because I'm going to take this. Have all those plans laid out just in case. I don't ever want to have to deal with them, but you have to sit down and think and dream and plan.
And one of the things that came up was, have you guys looked at, have either of the hackerspaces looked at becoming an educational organization? And have you faced obstacles with that? Are there gotchas? Are there advice, tips, whatever?
We've looked at it, and I believe it's in what we filed to get our 501c3. We haven't actually gone through and taught any classes or we, to,
No, an educational facility from the standpoint of being able to get education.
Oh, no.
I'm curious if is that something that's out of reach, or is it just something that's not important right now from your perspective?
Lesser left run, we're probably gonna use it as a means to reach out to more people.
Right, so I'm thinking this is maybe a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 number year down the road, kind of plan. Just looking up at the group that you guys have, right? Not trying to use Hackerspaces or anything else, but just looking at the group of people that you have here going, okay, you know something specific, you know something, and each one of you has the capability to teach somebody or some group of somebody
Yeah.
some talented piece of information that you're really good at, right? And opening up that kind of charter to the quote public for a fee, be it hey, 3 nights a week for 3 weeks, and we'll teach you how to write
Well,
code for basic stamp chips.
If I'm not mistaken, NYC Resistors they do classes, a couple of classes a month, isn't that correct? And they charge, I don't know what they charge money for it, and I think that's where they get at least some of their bills paid over the month. And we plan on doing that. That's in our dream. We haven't accomplished that yet because of
Some of that is
space and just other things. But that's something we plan on doing. Yes, we actually have a what's Scott solder. He has a license for soldering, whatever it is, and he said he'll be happy to come in and teach classes about learning how to solder and things like that. So.
Nico, were you talking about tax benefits? You were talking about tax benefits, educational discounts, those types of things? I can barely hear you. Were you talking about tax benefits, educational discounts, those types of things? Yeah. Educational discount, you need to be an accredited institution, which does not apply. Tax benefits depends on the state. In Tennessee, as soon as you get your 501c3, everything that you buy for your own use or give away is all tax-free. Courtesy state of Tennessee. Alabama, not so. Alabama, you have to get written into the state laws to get that benefit. So every single one of the organizations in Alabama that has tax-free status has a line in the law. So there's like a 20 or 30 actual organizations stuck in the law. It's not automatic with 501c. So it is state. It's state-based. Right. Yes. So it may be different here. I have no idea. Yes. Research. It's almost definitely different.
Photo booth will be upstairs somewhere. Which one? I don't know yet. I don't know if we're in our room or not. Just to find people with the shirts. Yeah, just one quick plug. If you guys want to see the photo booth or some of the other projects that we brought with us, look for our shirts, and we'll probably be in 430. I don't really know which room, but check us out. Probably 430, yeah.
One other thing is there's a group of people in Atlanta that apparently are talking about trying to do a hackerspace here, and they have a meeting on Monday, and the website's freesideatlanta.org, and there's a wiki that's also wiki.freesideatlanta.org. So anybody who wants to go talk about having one here in Atlanta, that's where you go.
Monday, 7:30, Manuel's Tavern.
Monday, 7:30, Manuel's Tavern, the man says.
Perfect.
And I
Thanks
don't
a lot.
know about this weekend, but there's apparently something called Hacker Foundation, which is a 501c3 dedicated to helping hackerspaces get started. That's all I know about it. Somebody told it to me very drunkenly on the balcony last night. What was it again? Hacker Foundation.
I believe it was the Cain and Abel guy. You probably talk to him and find out more information.
Slim Jim.
Nick Farr originally started that. Freshman's done it now.
There you go.
All right.
Sky Dog.
Thanks a lot, everyone.